All right, everyone. It's Friday, and you know what time that is. It means it's time for Manufacturing E-Commerce Success, and I am one of the co-hosts, Damon Postolka, and that guy right over there, that is not Kurt Anderson, but it is Thomas Ellis, and he's going to be with us today talking about mastering sales fundamentals. And Kurt is on sabbatical today. He's off doing some incredible things that he's going to be able to tell us about next week. But I'm so happy to have you here today, Thomas.
I'm delighted to be here, Kurt. Damon.
We got it. We got it. We're ready to go, man. This is good. This is good. Well, you know, Thomas, we always like to start out learning a little bit more about you. So tell us about your sales journey, how you got into sales coaching, how you got into helping all these sales professionals and businesses just learn how to do what they needed to do better.
Well, that's a great place to actually start. So my journey began many years ago, over 35 years, actually. I started out as a sales rep selling copiers in downtown Boston. And if anybody knows about the copier industry, it's a very tough business. And we used to cart copies around door to door and sell these products. I realized that I loved sales then. And from that point on, I moved on to the wireless industry, worked for a small company that became a big company called Nextel. And it was a startup organization. And I had a tremendous opportunity to learn about everything: sales, marketing, engineering, and be able to sit in a room and just come up with sales contests and compensation programs. And I started out with 8 sales reps. By the time I left, some 13 years later, I had 6 sales managers and 65 reps under my umbrella. And we covered from the federal government, state and local government, B2B, and what we call enterprise. Yeah. And so that's what I really learned and really understood: the importance of building a dynamic sales environment and the importance of empowering people to get the job done. And from there, Nextel was purchased by Sprint. I got this tremendous buyout package, and I've always wanted to do sales coaching and training, and that's where the journey began. And I'll tell you, it's been a fun journey. I have the pleasure of working with some outstanding small businesses. Small businesses is what I love. I love the small businesses because I'm talking directly to the small business owner. And if he or she doesn't learn how to sell, then they're out of business. And I can see improvements quickly. And so my main focus has been small businesses, and they range from IT to project management to landscaping, just a wide variety of industries. And the thing that I learned a lot is that most of these individuals are very good at what they do, right? They're mainly operations people or technical, but they have a fear of selling. And so I immediately come in and help them, first of all, forget about that word sell and replace that with the word help, and to give you a different perspective on what you're trying to do. And that's my story.
All right. That's awesome, because it's great to hear how you started and what you're doing today, because the experience that you got at Nextel, from starting in a startup to where you ended up had to be a huge transformation going from beginning to end.
Yes.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, Wesleyne Greer has joined us. Wesleyne, hello.
Hi, Wesleyne.
Hello. How are you?
Great.
I'm so glad to be here.
I wanted to say, I hope all is well down in Houston area. And did you guys get power back?
No, we don't have power. I'm actually working from my friend's condo downtown because she has power here. But no, it's been 5 days. No power.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Well, our prayers are with you guys.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully it comes back soon, because power with heat, without power, the heat is not good in Houston.
It's not. It's not. Thankfully, it's not too bad right now. But I wanted to jump in and Thomas, you were really speaking about working with small business owners and helping them overcome their fear of selling. So where do you think that fear is really stemming from?
So that fear comes from a lack of knowledge, right? And the perception that to be a salesperson, you have to be this hardcore, shifty kind of person that you got to go for the close all the time. You got to be pushy. You know, and so because our experiences when we encounter a salesperson normally happens when we buy a vehicle, right? That's when we mainly experience the salesperson, is when we buy a vehicle. And that process kind of turns people off because they don't understand what the process is. But from the car dealership, they have data that basically says, you know, if this person comes in and is looking for a vehicle, if we let them leave, the chances of them coming back are slim to none.
Yeah.
So when you know that, you have to, you know, you're trying to eat, pay mortgages like everybody else. You have to become aggressive and assertive. And that's where people's first encounter is. But I tell people, I said, that is, most salespeople are very consultative in nature, and they're there to help you solve a problem and not force anything onto you.
Yeah, that's so good. But and you know, I see that also, right? Like people are, oh, I don't like sales. It's sleazy, it's pushy, it's this, it's that. And they lose before they even start, right? They don't even try because they're like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that. And when you mentioned what you did, you said you teach them that sales is helping people, right? Like they're more consultative. So what are some of the things that you find work when you're helping these small businesses go from that I don't like to sell to I am being helpful as a salesperson?
So one of the first things is they have to believe that their product and services can make a difference in people's businesses, right? It can help them do better. Okay. And so once they feel that, because it's all about their mindset, right? You know, if I know that I have a product and service that's going to help you do your job better, make you have better productivity, all those great things, then my attitude towards speaking with you totally changes from, well, you know, I'm not quite sure. I walk into you and I really want to understand what your problems are. So I immediately teach them. I said, listen, everybody that you're going to talk to is not buying. So just understand that from the beginning, and that you know, the national average for closing sales is about 28 to 33%. So when you're talking to 10 people, 3 of those people are going to buy. We don't know which 3, but our job is to make a connection with that person, to really understand what issues they're having, what problems are they trying to solve that they just can't seem to solve, and that you may be the person that can help them solve it. And that's what I kind of help them think about. But that is a mental adjustment for them, and it takes time.
Yes. That's a great way to say it, though, because the fear is real. It definitely is real. And I never had thought about that before. It's our most of our experiences are from car sales, and that is one of the more aggressive, because they have to be, because of the reasons you said. It's part of it. But yeah, the 33%. I always thought about baseball. If you could hit 33% of the time in baseball, you're doing really, really well. So if you like baseball, like a baseball player, maybe that'll help a little bit, or use the analogy. Got to get used to failing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because failing is you're gonna fail more than you win. And baseball is a prime example of that. If you hit 300, you're in Cooperstown.
Yeah,
right? You're the best of the best. Okay, in baseball, in basketball, if you shoot 33% in threes, you're a bum, right? And so, but in baseball, it really applies. And I try to tell people that, listen, you're going to strike out more than you hit the home run or the single. But guess what? So is everybody else. So
yes.
33% of the people that you talk to are going to be customers, right? We don't win all the time. And no is your best friend. Tell people no is your best friend.
Yeah. I want to just drop. We got a lot of comments coming in here, but I'm just say, Sadia, hello. Great to see you here today. Harry, thanks for stopping by. He said, hi, happy Friday. Joshua, hello, everyone. And then Evan saying same thing. Hello, everyone. And then we've got a question, or not a question, but a comment from Harry. In sales and life, you can't win unless you fail. That's right there. So it's good stuff. And it's so the no. You just hit me with the no there. And I've seen salespeople that don't want to be pushy, that just keep going without getting to a no or a yes. Talk about that a little bit.
That the whole sales process is to get a decision, right? We just want a decision. And the more mature you become in the sales walk, you accept those no's. They're hard, but you accept them because you're not going to bat 1,000. You're not going to close everybody. And we just want to get through the prospecting phase, the discovery, the presentation, the proposal, and get a yes or no. Yes, I'm going forward, or no, I'm not. That's all we really want, And when we get that, then we can move forward, because no is wonderful. No means I'm closer to a yes from somebody.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Wesleyne? You're helping people with sales a lot too.
Yeah, I think that that fear of rejection, right? It comes from a deep-seated, your third grade teacher told you no, or your spouse told you no, or you heard no so much in life growing up. So you're scared to hear no. But when I hear no, kind of like what you said, Thomas, no is good, because you're not the right fit for me. And what that should tell you as a business owner is, maybe this isn't the right type of client that I'm calling on. Maybe my services or products aren't what they need. Maybe I need to do something a little bit differently. And so those no's for me have helped me build my business stronger, better product offerings, better niching, better focus, right? And I also think that some people are on the flip side of that, and they hear yes too often. And so what I tell them, I'm like, if your close rate is way above 33%, if you're like, oh, I win 60 or 70% of the deals that come through, then you're not being risky enough. You're staying too close into your comfort zone, and you're not being risky enough, because everybody shouldn't like you. Like, everybody shouldn't give you easy yeses.
Yeah, you know what?
What do you think about that, Thomas? That's a great thing to talk about.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, a third of the people are going to buy from you no matter what you do. You could show up late. You could not call them back in time. There's just some connection there that says they're buying from you. There's a third of people that are not going to buy from you no matter what you do. You could be on time, pricing's good, the product is a good fit, they're just not going to buy from you. And then there's a third of the people that is up in the air for everybody. So depending on who gets the connection with that company and the product fit is right and everything else, that's what happens. So once I start to explain to my clients these data points, then they go, oh, so you mean everybody? No, a third of the people. So when we do our sessions, we say, okay, which bucket does this person fall into? The third that like you, the third that don't like you, or the third that's going to give you the opportunity? Okay, and we work the strategy from there, because it's very important that a lot of this is mental preparation, and we need to always be focusing on, can I help this person? Okay, who's my ideal client? Am I talking to the right people for my products and services? Because, like William said, if you get a bunch of yeses, there's something wrong, because nobody's that good. But you should be getting some no's, and no's always lead to a yes with the right people.
Go ahead, Wesleyne.
There's a good question, a good thought in here.
I'm gonna go back here. Yeah, we've got a lot here that's just rolling in. So Samuel, first of all, we'll answer this later. He's asking us what our favorite baseball team is, but thanks for dropping the comment. We'll do that near the end. Joshua, he's saying, wow, I love that. You're gonna fail more than you win. So inspirational. And it's right, that's sales. It's just the way it is. And Evan talks about failing forward, but Dalit, he asked, do you touch one cold calling, and why is it important to find a potential client? But then he comes up with a second question as, can you share your thoughts on cold calling and sales and how it helps in the long term? So I'll let you guys answer that one first, and then we'll roll down. The comments are coming in hot.
That is a great question. So there's all kind of debate on there, is cold calling dead and all this other kind of stuff. I personally don't cold call. I use other tools to make them warm calls. Like, my favorite tool in the world is LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn to kind of write content, share my ideas and concepts. And if people respond to that, that gives me like a license to reach out to them and have dialogue, to say, hey, thanks for liking my post, comment, or whatever. So I don't cold call anymore. Cold calling, you need to be very strategic, number one, and you need to be different, because people are still telemarketing every day, or you all get those calls, right? Hi, I'm so, right? Click. You have to do a lot more strategic thinking before you pick up the phone and call people. But if you're going to cold call, you should have a strategy that you just don't do it one time, that you call this person regularly. So one day they're going to say, this damn Thomas keeps calling me every 3 or 4 weeks. Okay, next time he calls, I'm going to talk to him for 15 minutes. That's successful cold calling.
I love that. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Wesleyne?
I 100% agree with that. I don't believe in cold calling. I call it warm calling. And so when I say warm calling, it's, I know who my ideal prospect is, right? So I know that I am focusing right now, this quarter, this month, on operations managers in the state of New Jersey. And so I'm going to find all operations managers in the state of New Jersey, and I'm going to know the challenges, the problems, whatever they have going on in their world. And then I'm going to laser focus on that one specific ideal prospect, right? And I say that because if you are, I say dialing for dollars, if you're making $50, $100, however many dollars you're making, if you already know who you're talking to, what their challenges are, what that next step is, rather than I'm calling operations managers today and tomorrow I'm calling HR managers and I'm calling small businesses, then you just seem like one of those robots that I feel like I get a gazillion of those calls every single day, right? So know who you're calling, and then it makes it much more beneficial. And again, there's so many good tools out there using LinkedIn, and you really have to use this. People call it multi-threading. So if you're calling them, you should be emailing them, touching them on LinkedIn, doing different things, and not just solely focusing on cold calling.
And that's excellent. So we talk about multiple ways of reaching people is going to be tremendous, because they may see you on LinkedIn, they may see an email from you, they may see you on a podcast, right? Mm-hmm. They may see you have an article, and then they begin to go, wow, I need to talk to this person. They're everywhere, and they're talking about things that matter to me. Another tool that I love using, Wesley mentioned, if she's calling operations managers in the state of New Jersey, all right, I would use Chat GPT to kind of say, okay, what are the 5 biggest problems that operations managers are having in the manufacturing space in the state of New Jersey? That's going to give me a list of 5 things. So now when I'm reaching out, I'm talking intelligently because I have specific data. And now this separates me from everybody else who's just dialing for dollars. And I hope that answers that person's question.
Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear both your perspectives on it about cold calling and going through that. So I'm going to go through a couple more questions here. And Evan mentions too what you guys were talking about earlier. You got a 60% close. Maybe your flow isn't high enough, or maybe you're overqualifying prospects. The overqualifying prospects, that could be a big one if you've got that many prospects and you're overqualifying them and throw a bunch in the garbage that you could be talking to.
Yeah, I would love your take on that, Thomas, because I see that often. People, they're like, oh, okay, I'm closing all this business. I have all these new clients. What do you see, especially in that startup small business space, where they're overqualifying prospects? So putting people maybe in the wrong product, the wrong service, just saying, I need money, I have bills to pay. Talk to us more about that.
And that is a problem that I face with many clients, and I have to pull them back to say, wait a minute, are you in this for the short term or the long term? Because long term, you want to make sure that whoever you pick up as a client, that they become a raving fan, right? And so like when I started my business, I had a lot of raving fans because I did more than what they expected. Okay. My rates weren't crazy, and they became raving fans. Actually, this afternoon, I have a call with a client that's coming back. We talk every now and then, and she's giving me referrals because she is a raving fan, because I didn't oversell, I didn't overqualify. And I try to teach people, listen, first of all, you need to know what your 3 core products are, right? People, well, I sell what are my 3 core products, okay? And what is my signature? Because we all have a signature product. Just like every restaurant has a signature dish, right? We all have a signature product or service, okay? That we know that if this client gets this, they're going to be singing my praises forever. That's what we got to focus on is those types of opportunities, and forget about the money, right? We all need money. That's no secret, right? We all need money. But if you're helping customers because you want to make money, that is not the proper way, and you're going to fail as quickly as you start. Your motivation should be, I'm here to help somebody solve a problem that's going to make their lives better. And if they pay me, it makes my life better. So it's a win for everybody.
Yep. Damon, and I'm curious because you see business owners that are, on their way to sell their business or get out of it. So how does that really good product market fit? How does that impact people as they're trying to sell businesses?
Well, if they have it down, I mean, if you really understand your product market fit and you've got a good sales process in place and your people know how to sell, it is so critical for the long-term value of a business. I mean, you see it. You guys know this working in those businesses. You see when a sales process can keep the engine running like it needs to. You don't see the up and down of the revenue cycle nearly as much. And you see that even in harder times, these companies can weather the storm much better. And that's very apparent when you're looking at the value of the business and the attractiveness to the next owners. So the strong sales engine, strong sales process, strong sales people is critical to, really ensuring a much better exit.
And you mentioned sales process, sales engine. When I do a lot of presentations and workshops and talking to small business owners, I tell them, if I'm doing a workshop in front of small business owners, my first opening comments are, pay attention. This is the best workshop you're ever going to attend, because if you cannot get people to buy your products and services, I don't care what kind of back room you have, your CPA, none of that stuff matters. You're going to be out of business. So focus in on this next hour, because this makes or breaks you. Nothing happens until a sale is made.
Yeah,
that's good. That's
for sure. We got some more comments, man. They're just coming in like crazy. So anyone who has, Harry says, anyone who has a high closing rate in their CRM isn't entering the data of all of their meetings. That's
bingo. I love that.
Okay? True.
That is true. Great. Are you, Harry? Are you saying that they're not being honest with themselves? And see, and that brings up another point. Okay, that when I just got to doing a quarterly review with one of my clients, and their numbers are not where they thought they were going to actually be. So we had to have that come to Jesus meeting to say, this number isn't right, okay? Because they were counting things that hadn't sold yet. They're gonna sell, but I say it's a done deal when you have a signed order, a PO. Do you have any one of those, or a check? Well, no, I have a promise to. Hey, let me call my mortgage company tomorrow and say, I promise to pay my mortgage on the 5th. All right, and see what response they're going to give me. So honesty, looking yourself in the mirror and making sure that we are being truthful and honest with our numbers and our activity will really help you be sane, because otherwise you're going to be very frustrated.
Yeah.
That's so good. I love that. They told me it was going to come in. Okay, how long ago was that? What is actually happening? As you said, it's not closed won until you have a purchase order, a signed contract, they have signed on the dotted line, or maybe your business is one where you collect the revenue money up front. Like whatever the thing is, it's not done until it's done. And on the flip side, if you don't keep track of the deals that you're actually losing, one, you don't have historical data to go back to see what things are not working well for you. And, the more diligent you are with that CRM data, if you track your products and your services, like you should be able to go back and see, wow, I lost 80% of the deals with this particular product or service. Do I need to be continuing to sell this? 70% of my business is coming from this particular product or service. I should double down this, right? And then when times are a little bit tough, you can go back to those clients that you've lost business with, and you can just re-engage them, have the conversation. Like even just this year, and me going back to the old CRM data, re-engaging with clients, it opens up new opportunities. So use your CRM. I'm like a CRM ninja. So use it so the data helps you tell a story.
That's exactly right. And I just had a conversation with a good friend of mine who's kind of helping me do things in the AI space. And he was telling me that he had deals, people had promised to close deals, but no check, no nothing. And I said, well, Marvin, I hope Marvin is on the call, but I said, Marvin, I said, how many of these deals do you have? He said, I got about 4 or 5 of them. I said, ooh. I said, I have this email that I crafted, and I've used this for many, many, many years. And it's basically fire the prospect email. Either move forward. So I said, Marvin, I'm going to send you. And by the way, if anybody on this call wants that email me. I will send it to you. It works. Doesn't work all the time, but like in sales, it'll work 33% of the time. So Marvin sends this emails out, right? And the next night he emails me at 10 o'clock at night. And his email said, oh my God, Thomas, I sent the email, and the guy that I was working with and is told me why they're not moving forward. And it's not anything of me, but he promises we're going to talk on Friday. The problem that small business owners have is that they don't know how to follow up, right? That's the other key thing. Well, I'm waiting for Johnny to call me. Well, my son's is going to be born before that customer calls you back. You have to take the bull by the horn, and you have to pursue that customer. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the biggest problems that I have with most small business owners. They're kind of timid with the follow-up, right? I've given them the proposal, and now I wait. No, you don't wait. You're pushing for an answer.
Yeah.
Yes or no? And that's the other big hurdle that they have. The other hurdle is finding that right customer, right? And the other hurdle is asking for the business over and over and over until the person says yes or no.
Yeah.
Sorry about the tangent.
No problem. But, I love to say the fortune is in the follow-up, right? Like, so if you're not, you can get the initial meeting, and then and we actually can go into deeper things, like don't let them get off the call without agreeing to what the next step is, right? Like if you just say, okay, so I'll just wait for you to come back. No, you're putting it in the prospect's hand. That's not right. You're the salesperson. You take ownership of it. Okay, so let's put time on the calendar for this time, this date, right? And you have to really focus on that. So when you see that people are doing, okay, just having one call, or they're not as aggressively going after prospects, what are some of the things that you can get people who don't really have the ante to follow up to just start doing that follow-up motion?
So I tell them lots of stories about how to follow up. And this is people who know me will call me the follow-up king. I'm going to follow up until I'm going to follow up until you say, Thomas, okay, I surrender, or I want to know. When I tell them the stories about from different clients that how this process works, I say this is a must do. We have to follow up. We have to figure out a way that's comfortable for you to follow up. You may not follow up the way that I do, but we must follow up. So let's try some ways to follow up. And guess what happens? Magically, when they follow up and a person get a response, they're hooked. They're hooked. Mm-hmm. Then they follow up because they've had success, right? They got confidence. Well, times I thought I was going to be a pain in the butt. I said, listen, being a pain in the butt is in your mind. You are a pain in the butt if you think you're a pain in the butt. But if you're following up with data, information, with something, not to say, hey, Jill, did you look at the proposal yet on Monday? On Tuesday, hey, Jill, did you look at the proposal yet on Monday? You're a pest.
Yeah.
You're a pest. Stop
a professional
doing
pest.
A professional pest. And so I teach them, and I say, you got to try it. But once they get success doing it, we don't have to worry about it anymore. Every now and then, another one says, so what are you going to do with this customer next? Well, I think I'm going to know. What are you going to do with the customer? I'm going to call them when? What time? And then at our next session, right, we go over. Did you do this? Did you? Or I tell them, I said, listen, when you follow up, send me a text message to let me know how that call. Because that's how involved I am with my clients. I want every single one of them to be successful, but they need nudging. Sometimes they need a knock upside the head. Sometimes they need their push.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you know, and the thing that I've seen too, and you talked about this, Wesleyne, is the CRMs. The CRMs, the simple CRMs, I mean, simple and very affordable CRMs now have great follow-up sequences that you can build in them, and not just because you're going to pump out emails or text messages, but actually to give you tasks.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you want to, and you can, and you're working in a situation where you can get your CRM to be able to, I mean, identify a specific problem point that you want to follow up with, you can even do that in your CRM. But the thing that I think I've seen is really cool is when you integrate multiple methods, because somebody may respond better to a text, somebody may be email, some might be, who knows, Instagram message. But you can do all that now, and you can integrate, okay, what's the right time for me to make a call?
Yeah.
In a standard process, right? Because if I'm a process guy, I'm like, I do 1, 2, 3, 4. That's like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can tell you what's going to happen at the end of each call. I can tell you that we're going to know by the end of the second call whether we're moving forward or not. That's just the way it is. It's going to take us to 4, maybe 5 to get the deal done. But if you don't have it like that, and you don't know your steps, general steps, right, and you're not following them, I just see that the CRMs now are so much better at keeping you on task. You know, with so many days, I've waited 24 hours. It's time to do this, because otherwise we'll go, oh, I got this to do. I've got that to do. I've got that to do. And the next thing you know, the sales follow up is last thing. And you go, oh, it's 4 o'clock. I don't want to call somebody at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then it's the next day.
Exactly. Because people don't like doing the things they don't like doing. Right.
Yeah.
They don't like doing it. Then they put it off, and they put it off, and they put it off. And I have a follow-up process that I teach clients. Every 3 to 5 days, you should do something. Do something. You know, 3 to 5 days. You pick it's a third day, fourth day, fifth day, but between 3 to 5 days, you have to do something. Let's figure out what that something is. Let's figure out the next 3 or 5 somethings in sequence, like you talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, I sent this on Monday. Thursday, what am I going to do? I'm going to make a phone call. Okay. If I don't, and you're not going to get a response. So, you know, because we have to condition these folks that you're going to call people, they're not going to respond. They're not going to respond to your email, not going to respond to your voicemail. And there's this chart I'm sure that you guys seen that says 80% of sales are made between the 5th to 12th contact.
Yeah.
So if I contact you once or twice, and I have, because the prospect's saying, this person's only going to call me one time. I ain't got to worry about them no more. Right? The prospect knows that. But the 5th time you're still reaching out. Now the prospect's going, well, wait a minute. This person's different. Because they're sending me different stuff. They're still there. Right? And so we developed this follow-up process with things to do. Okay, maybe on the 4th, no response back, I send them an article, not that I wrote, but on a topic that they may be interested in. Okay.
Right.
And then I repeat, I rinse and repeat. Phone call, text, you know, and to eventually people respond because they say, wow, this person really wants to talk to me. They really have something of value for me. I owe them 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's good. And one of the key things that you said is know how your customers, your prospects communicate best, right? So some people, I know that I need to pick up the phone and call them because that is the best way that I can get them. Some people to text message, some it's to email, some it's a LinkedIn message. Like, you have to get creative enough. And so that's why you try all of the different things. You can't just email or only send a LinkedIn message or only call, because your prospect might like to communicate in a different way. And then the first time I get on a call with somebody or have the opportunity, I ask them that question: what is the best way to communicate with you? And then it's like, bingo, I know what to do, right?
Yeah.
Some people I'll send a voice note. Some people like videos. Like, you have to really speak the language of your prospect. It's not about your comfort zone. It's about what works for them.
And teach small business owners that when they've been in an environment that's been very structured and regimented and how they do things, that takes a while for them to grasp.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And the more time that I can spend with them, the more that they begin to try these new things. And then it becomes, because I'll ask, I said, so did you call them yet? So what are you going to do next? Well, I couldn't. What are we going to do next? Let's think of something right now that we're going to do next. Mm-hmm. Do you have their cell phone number? Yeah. Oh, I can't text them. Well, what do you mean you can't text them? Mm-hmm. If somebody give you their personal phone number, that's a license to text to me. Yeah. You know, right? Mm. You text them. I've texted people 5 o'clock in the evening, Saturday morning. Text. Yeah. Right.
Well, but you say Saturday morning. Saturday morning is often a good time if you're dependent upon what you're doing.
It is a great time because most business owners are kind of relaxed. They're wrapping up and they're prepping for Monday, right? So if you get them between 7 a.m. and noontime, right? Because if they have a family, they're doing family stuff, but between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m., I've booked so many appointments and got unbelievable. But once again, people, I can't do that on Saturday. I'm interrupting them. Okay, are you want to be in business? You want to stay in business? This is what you got to do. We got to do this stuff. Trust me. Nobody's going to knock on your door and say, don't ever do this again. They're going to be appreciative because you're different than everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. And if they tell you to go away, they're not the right customer for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Just keep going. Don't take it personally. Exactly. They're just not the right person for you.
Exactly.
They are the 1/3 that we talked about. They're not going to buy from you no matter what. So keep it moving.
Yep. Yeah. Evan says something here. It's pretty good. Reach out when people are well fed, well rested, and relaxing.
Yes. There you go. Yes.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Tons of good comments in here. I want to thank everyone for drawing them. I could be able to get them all up. This is great being able to get to talk to you today, Thomas and Wesleyne. Thanks so much for dropping the knowledge bombs in here too. We always have to ask one of our questions on it. And Kurt, I would be in trouble if I didn't ask Kurt's question. So what is the best business advice you've ever had, Thomas?
Wow, that is a great question. The best business advice I ever have, never give up. Never give up was one of them. And the second one is pivot before you have to pivot. Right? Good. Right? So you may see things happening. I'm going to ride it out. Right. So you go another 3 to 6 months. You should have pivoted 3 to 6 months ago. Yeah. Because you saw the handwriting on the wall, but I'm going to stick it. Right. So those were the two things that, and I teach my clients. I talk to my clients about that all the time about let's look at look at your business, look at where it's going. Oh, wow. Why is this segment doing well? And this isn't. We should be focusing on, like Wesleyne said earlier, we should be focusing on here because this is where the activity is. You want it to be over here. It ain't happening here. Yep. We got to go to where we got, as they say, got to follow the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Those are
That's
great points, great business advice for sure. For sure. So as we're wrapping up here, what are some of the, just one, you talk about this a little bit. What is the one thing that will help small business owners make their sales days better?
There's not one thing, but I would say the follow-up, right? I mean, that is, because we can get appointments, we're going to get meetings, okay? But how do we follow up? Following up, one, are we and listening to what they're saying, asking the right questions, okay? And always get the next step while you're in the meeting. So, Joe, you like this conversation? Yeah, great. Would like to get together again? Yes. When would you like to call me in 2 weeks? And this is a $50,000 nugget right here. Pay attention. Most people get up and leave, and they call Joe in 2 weeks, and they can't find him for 2 more weeks. And I say, you were in front of Joe. You were sitting right there with him. Why didn't you say, hey, Joe, that's great. 2 weeks from today is August the 5th. You like morning or afternoon? Let's book it on the calendar. I'll send you a meeting invite. Then the kicker is, hey, Joe, what are we going to talk about in the next meeting? So now you have the meeting and the agenda. So those would be like my 4 or 5 nuggets that if people do consistently, their sales will skyrocket.
I have one I just want to add.
Yes.
All of the stuff that Thomas just told you, my biggest piece of sales advice is you need a sales power hour on your calendar every day. So when you don't, and I like to do it in the morning before the day gets away from me, because as a business owner, you have to sell, you might have to execute, you might have to do finance, you might have to do a lot of stuff. And so if you really want to excel in sales, you have to schedule time for it. So when you're doing those follow-ups, it's like, okay, 9 to 10, have it on your calendar, book time with yourself so that you can focus on sales.
The sales power hour. Woo! That's another one. So thank the both of you for being here today. Thanks, Thomas, for stopping by, dropping your just golden nuggets of wisdom here, and Wesleyne for the incredible co-hosting and dropping those other comments and questions in there to really get the conversation going. And I also want to thank everyone that was here dropping the comments today, asking the questions. We had Sadia, Evan, Dalit, Harry, Samuel. Wow, there's just a bunch of them. Saul, Peter. Man, just a ton of good comments in the feed today. But just want to thank everyone for being here today. We're going to wrap up today. I wanted to say, go out and be awesome this weekend. I'm not as good as Kurt at saying it, but I want to make sure we do it. Wesleyne, thanks once again for co-hosting. Thomas, thanks so much for being here today and sharing your sales wisdom with us. We will be back again next week. Thanks, everyone. Hang out, everyone, and we'll wind up offline.
Take care, everyone.